Have you guys ever noticed how the media always seems to have a problem with success, especially when coming from the Trump administration? They spent months telling us that tariffs would bring the economy to its knees, that inflation would skyrocket, and that working Americans would suffer. But guess what, guys? Even CNBC, the network that practically invented the anti-Trump spin cycle, is now admitting that the numbers are defying their predictions. Inflation is stable, personal incomes are up, and the trade deficit is coming down. Big time. And at the center of it all is Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary who's been taking the fight to critics and backing it up with hard facts. Just this past Sunday, Bessent hit the talk shows and dismantled the left's talking points, one by one. So he's the numbers guy who's turning skeptics into believers, and even the so-called experts at CNBC had to give Trump's economic team some credit. So today we're diving into how Bessent's data-driven strategy is reshaping America's economy and forcing the media to admit they were wrong. So let's go ahead and get into it. My name's Tom. I'm with the Daily Beltway. I'm also publisher of the Illinois Review and a White House correspondent for the Next News Network. So let's get straight to the facts and the numbers that matter most to everyday Americans like us. So Scott Bessent, a veteran hedge fund manager turned Treasury Secretary, is proving that experience and common sense can beat the left's empty rhetoric. On Sunday, June 1st, he took to the talk shows and confronted the false narrative about tariffs, trade deficits, and inflation head on. He's the architect behind President Trump's bold economic strategy, and the results are speaking for themselves. So let's go ahead and check out this clip. It's going to be a little long. I've got a little special treat in the end for you guys, so it's going to be fun. You're going to like it. So we're going to roll the clip. Scott Bessent on Sunday show where he's demolishing the left and showing how amazing Trump's plan is, and he's spitting facts straight to it. Let's see.
We wanted to make sure that there aren't price increases, Margaret, and thus far there have been no price increases. Everything has been alarmist, that the inflation numbers are actually dropping. We saw the first drop of inflation in 4 years. The inflation numbers last week, they were very pro-consumer.
Right. But you listen to earnings calls just like we do. Mm-hmm. You know what Walmart's saying, what Best Buy's saying, and what Target are saying.
But Margaret, I also know what Home Depot and Amazon are saying. I know what the South China Morning Post wrote within the past 24 hours, that 65% of the tariffs will likely be eaten by the Chinese producers. One of the reasons I'm sitting here talking to you today and not at home watching your show is that I was concerned about the level of debt. So the deficit this year is going to be lower than the deficit last year, and in 2 years it will be lower again. We are going to bring the deficit down slowly. We didn't get here in 1 year. We didn't get here in 1 year, and this has been a long process. So the goal is to bring it down over the next 4 years, leave the country in great shape in 2028.
The reality is there will either be less inventory or things at higher prices or both.
Mark, when we were here in March, you said there was going to be big inflation. There hasn't been any inflation. Actually, the inflation numbers are the best in 4 years. So why don't we stop trying to say this could happen and wait and see what does happen?
I think what I'll do...
All right, so before we get to this,
numbers have just come out, which are
the left media, everybody, they're sitting here saying about how, Donald Trump and so on and so forth, he's the worst guy, the world's going to blow up. Scott Bessent did a crazy good job. Donald Trump is in the Oval Office during the Elon Musk exchange that he just gave him the golden key to the White House because Elon really knocked it out of the park with what he was doing with Doge. Trump did a typical Trump thing. Let's check it out.
Extraordinary, and I thought I'd play a tape of one of the people who I've respected over the years, from Joe Kiernan and Rick Santelli. This just came out, and we'll just play that for a second.
Personal income is up 0.8%. That is almost triple the expectations. Yeah, I'll tell you, the income numbers, really, for the first 4 months of the year, they're stellar. They're really stellar. I mean, I could go back and look at the first 4 months of many different years.
And he's making the fake news in the room. Like, when you're in those rooms, so I'm usually in the briefing room on the other side. So there's like all the upper press guys and the press pool. And so it's like, Reuters, CNN, ABC, NBC, Fox, and then they have the new media seat. And then we haven't been invited over with the Next News Network yet, but all of them are sitting there. There's hundreds of cameras, kind of presenting on how it goes. Oh, yeah. Sorry, tattoos are showing. And he's making them watch that they were wrong, and all the media that they're putting out is just garbage. Check it out.
Really very strong numbers, and you're right. This administration is criticized for just about everything under the sun. I've never, ever in my lifetime had glimpses into the politics of an administration in the form of transparency like this one. Why don't we be, give credit where credit is due? Income really shooting up.
Rick, I also thought everybody was going to get one last order of imports that were going to be tariffed, and they were loading up on things. How the hell they already fix the trade, or not fix it, but to cut it in half? That's crazy. So there wasn't a lot of front loading of things that they needed before the tariffs hit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it really does call into question some of the conventional wisdoms. And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next month when we get this number, or we see some of the other numbers like current account, see how they fared. Because I don't know, I've been watching these numbers a long time. I don't think I've ever seen the trade deficit cut in half in 1 month.
Not bad. Right? Not bad.
Come on, guys.
That little Trump. Yeah, I know I did good. And he's making these guys know it. So on the Sunday shows, Bessent did not mince words. He made it clear that inflation, which the left said would explode under tariffs, is actually stabilizing. Personal incomes have risen nearly triple expectations in the first 4 months of 2025 alone. CNBC's own Rick Santelli praised it as a great start to the year and gave Trump administration credits for defying the experts. The trade deficit, one of Trump's key campaign issues, is shrinking at a historic pace. In April, imports dropped sharply after a March surge, and that's no accident. Bessent and the Trump administration, Trump team negotiated a 90-day tariff pause with China, reducing rates from 145% to just 30% for the U.S., and are now down to 10% for China. That's what happens when you put America first at the negotiating table. Even the media that spent years attacking Trump's trade policy being forced to acknowledge the facts. The New York Times now admits that Trump's tariffs are dominating global economic discussions. CNBC's reporting shows that trade talks are progressing under Bessent's leadership. That's leverage in action. Now let's talk about the tariffs themselves. Critics warned they destroy American wallets, but Bessent set the record straight. While some costs might get passed on to the consumers, gas prices are down and grocery prices are stable. Walmart and other retailers are absorbing much of the cost, as is China. There's a far cry from the horror stories that the leftist media tried to sell us. Bessent also laid out a bigger vision. Tax cuts and deregulation are part of Trump's plan to push stable growth above 3% by mid-2026. And let's not forget the modernization of the IRS and efforts to streamline spending. Long overdue reforms put taxpayer first. So if you guys got value from this news update, tap subscribe. My opinion's coming up. And please, please, please leave a comment, hit the like button. Just started the channel back up. It takes a lot to grow. And every time you guys like, share, comment, that really helps boost the algorithm and kind of get this out there. And as you guys know, we're getting smoked on any conservative media that's trying to sit and say anything true. So everything you guys can do to help, share, comment, like it really goes a long way. And, it's fun to do this stuff. We don't get paid to do it. I don't, at least not on this side. So we're not monetized or anything. I'm just kind of having a little bit of fun talking crap against the established fake news. So, all right. So here's what we're really seeing. Scott Bessent and President Trump have proven that facts beat fiction every time. The media said tariffs would destroy us, but the data shows just the opposite. Personal incomes are up, gas prices are coming down, and the trade deficit is shrinking. That's the America First agenda in action. The media is only now starting to admit that what we've known all along. Trump's plan is working. It has worked. It worked in the first administration, and it's working now. It's forcing the world to negotiate on our terms, not theirs. And that's exactly how it should be. In a republic, the government's job is to protect the people's interests, not to bow to global elites or partisan spin. So as we move forward, let's keep holding the media accountable and demand the truth. Because when America economy wins, every hardworking American like us wins. And that's why we're here, to stand up, speak out, and make sure that success gets the recognition it deserves. And if Trump does something stupid, I'm going to say the same thing. I don't care. I love the guy. But if he does something dumb, we're going to call it out. just like anybody else should, because that's the job of the people that are on the platforms. Not everything our people do is 100% good. And if he does something stupid, we're going to say it. So God bless you guys, and God bless this great republic. And let's keep the wins coming.